you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the Whirlpool appliances we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start, but you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Touch the new Whirlpool Ice Collection. It offers a modern style made to create an inspiring kitchen experience. Save big on this Whirlpool Black Ice or White Ice kitchen. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise today.
Hi, I'm John Malos. Welcome to this edition of Connect with Me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this day. We're talking on the air, off the presses on Comcast, channel 187 and 43.6. Hey, we're going to be talking to two reporters from the Collegian, this newspaper right here. We're back with our show in just a moment. Stay tuned. It is on the air, off the presses on this day, and as I said in the open, we're going to be talking to a couple of reporters, editors actually, for the Collegian. That's this newspaper right here. It's on the campus of Fresno State. They talk about and write about all sorts of things going on campus. They even talk to the president, Dr. Joseph Castro. He is probably the most important guy on campus, I would assume. I don't know, but they talk to him. They got stories here off and on about what's going on at the president's office. You know, when I was a young, I don't know if you want to call me a reporter, but when I was a young whippersnapper, like, in my teens and I was going to high school, I was the editor of my high school newspaper, McClatchy High School in Sacramento, and then I didn't go into newspaper writing, or, I decided to go into television. Let's go to the videotape and I'll show you what I'm talking about. We'll find out where these two want to head next after the Fresno State. You are looking at the Collegian, located inside the Speech Arts building at Fresno State, and it's like any other newsroom, as you can tell. Coffee cups all over the place, a little messy, but that's a newsroom, ladies and gentlemen. That's what a newsroom encompasses. It's supposed to be messy, and it's small in nature, unlike maybe some other newsroom, but still, it gets the job done. Look at those gigantic Macintosh computers. They're all over the place. Boy, that cost a pretty penny. 20 total on staff, 5 on the editorial side. The rest are reporters, photographers, multimedia people, which means they both do television and newspaper. They got a YouTube channel there at Fresno State. Sports department, they have 1 editor, 1 reporter. Arts and entertainment, they have 1 person there, and 3 photographers. They cover sports very heavily there. They go to the basketball games, the football games, and they cover hard news, as they call it. In our studio right now is Jesse Franz. He is the news editor of the Collegian, and Brianna Vaccari. She is the assistant news editor. We're going to be talking to them about what's going on at Fresno State, the latest news. Hey, and someone here in the studio covered the visit by President Obama on Valentine's Day. That would be February the 14th. You are watching Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno here on Comcast 187, 43.6. We're back with our 2 young editors / reporters in just a moment. They're both ready to unseat me in just a moment.
When you're looking for KitchenAid innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, we'll help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified KitchenAid appliances save you energy and money, and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
Boy, I thought I was a hot shot in high school. I was the editor of my school newspaper, and I was covering football games and basketball games and everything else. So I found out later I wasn't such a hot shot. Anyway, Jesse, good to see you. How are you? Brianna, good to see you. I'm glad you guys have a sense of humor. It must be infectious with media people, right?
Yeah, long nights in a newsroom will do that to you.
I know. So how much time do you guys spend? Let's start with you, Brianna.
Oh, well, in between classes, they're pretty much every day, and our production nights are Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, so we're there pretty late into the night on those nights.
Okay, so how often does this paper come out, the Collegian?
Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Really? So that's why you spend so much time there.
Yes.
I mean, you're constant. So can you break any news here on what you're working on here on Connect with Me?
We have our ASI debate coming up pretty soon. We kind of host that and coordinate that. So
What is that?
Presidential elections for student government on campus.
Oh, that's nice. Anything else, Jesse?
We actually just got an email about an hour ago that Lynette Zalesny will be our new provost and VP of Academic Affairs, which means she'll oversee basically all our academic departments.
Is that a big deal?
That's a pretty big deal.
It is?
She's one of the most powerful people on campus now.
Is that going to be in the B tomorrow?
Might be.
Really? It's that big, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty big. They've been conducting like a search for a new provost for quite some time now.
Wow. And who's that going to be again?
Lynette Zalesny. She was actually the only internal candidate for the position, which means she's the only one coming from Fresno State, and she got the job.
So you mean to say we just broke some news here on Connect with Me?
We just broke some news.
That's tremendous. Gee, I look forward to that. Now, before we get into anything else, I do want to talk about the president's visit, and you had a chance to go out to the airport, right? And tell us what that experience was like.
I did. It was a pretty amazing experience. It's one of a kind just to see Air Force One come down. Just
you had the press credential and
everything? I had the press credential.
From the White House?
Yes, from the White House. White House press credential. Big old orange thing, going to save that probably till the day I die.
Yep.
It was just amazing. The plane comes down. It's just this huge thing. You have Marine One, which is also on the tarmac with whirling helicopters. It was an incredible event.
You didn't get an audience, though, with him, did you?
No. We had an audience with Congressman Costa. So that was pretty interesting. But he was just here as a meet and greet, talking to farmers and doing all that stuff.
All right, let me ask your opinion, Brianna, because you know what's going on. You follow the news like I do, pretty much. I mean, you should. You're in the newspaper business.
Yeah.
So, and I've talked about this many times on the air. Was his visit nothing more than a photo op? Was it just a waste of time? Oh, yeah, okay, you guys are in a drought. You're short of water. Okay, I'm here to sign a few things. See ya.
Well, in my opinion, I thought it was nice that he kind of recognized the Central Valley and hey, there's a problem going on in California here. I see you guys. And I mean, he did make a note and said that the drought in California does affect the rest of the United States, so maybe he felt obligated to. But, even though he didn't do much here, he's still the president of the United States coming to Little Fresno. It was still a cool thing.
You think so? What do you think, Jesse? Photo op, or did he accomplish anything?
I think when you're the president, everything's a photo op. Everything has to be a photo op. You're the most powerful man in the world, and the media is always going to want to have the attention right on you, whether you're on vacation or you're talking serious drought measures.
How close did you get to the president?
It was probably about 100 yards, but it was still fun.
Did you do your Sam Donaldson impression? Mr. President.
I attempted to, but it was a little too far away for even that.
You know Sam Donaldson. Remember when he did he covered the White House? He was always yelling at the president. Remember that? He was always yelling out because he couldn't get close enough.
Yeah, but it was definitely.
You needed a bullhorn.
That's what we needed. We just forgot that. For some reason, Secret Service just wouldn't let us bring that in. I don't know why.
Really? So did they pat you down?
Not really. They had all the equipment because there's a lot of photogs with a ton of equipment. Had dogs go through that, had wands and everything, but we had been pre-credentialed, so it's one of those things where they're going to do their background checks before you even get there. They're not going to let you in there without one.
Is that why Brianna didn't get hers?
Yeah, I didn't pass my background check. High-profile criminal right here.
I remember when Clinton came to town in 96, I guess, 97, something like that, and I was working at KMPH. And about a week or two before, the Secret Service came, and they had snipers on the roof. And Clinton, I mean, because he stayed at the Piccadilly 2 doors down.
Yeah.
So they scoured the place and this and that. Did you see snipers on any of the rooftops?
Yeah, actually across the way, you could see the glimmer of some people just laying down on the. It's one of those interesting things. The running joke throughout the day is I wonder if I'm in a sniper's sights right now as we're speaking.
I think one of our photogs actually got a photo of a sniper on the roof.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it was a fun experience. That's the bottom line,
fun
right?
Experience.
Yeah, something you can tell your kids about. I hope you got plenty of pictures of yourself. I mean,
no, I made sure to take a selfie with Air Force One.
You did?
Yeah, I got
really?
Got the Air Force One.
So why didn't you go out there?
Well,
what's the deal with that?
We only had credentials to send 3 people, so we sent Jesse. He's our biggest guy on politics right here. He's all about that politic life, and then we wanted to send as many photographers as we could, so we sent both of our photographers.
What was his attitude when he walked back in the newsroom? A little.
Well, I can tell you before he was no, Jesse's very down to earth, but I can tell you before he was pretty nervous. He was pacing, and I'm pretty sure he didn't sleep the night before. He was so excited. So.
Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, how old are you?
I'm 21.
You're 21. Mm-hmm. Wow, and you are
21.
21. You're a junior.
I'm a junior.
You're a
senior.
Okay. Well, that is the coolest thing, to see the president and cover the president at 21. There's a lot to be said for that. Hey, we are talking to a couple of people from the Collegian. We're talking with Jesse Franz, Brianna Vaccari. We're going to continue our conversation here on Connect with Me. A lot of time left, plenty to talk about. Back in just a moment. Stay tuned.
Now, why don't you tell us the whole story right from the beginning? All right, from the beginning. This is the city, Los Angeles, California. My name's Friday. I carry a badge. Police officers.
You any idea who the other man was?
My partner's Bill Gannon.
Program?
We got just one big question.
Yeah.
When?
Now on MeTV Fresno, Xfinity 187.
Back here on the air with On the Air, Off the Presses on this day, talking to a couple of people from the Collegian, talking with Jesse Franz and Brianna Vaccari. So what is your title there, and what's your title?
I'm the news editor of the Collegian.
And I'm the assistant news editor.
Okay, so what are your jobs? What do you do?
Well, basically what news editor entails, and we work collaboratively. Basically, we set the budget for the paper, which means we're going to see what we need to cover. We're also going to cover a lot of the stuff ourselves. We're going to make sure that we have photos for what we're going to cover. Then on production nights, which are going to be Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays, we spend the better part of the night laying out, copy editing, making sure everything's ready to print, making sure everything's factual. So basically making the news section
How do you check your facts, by the way?
Checking the facts. Call around, make sure that we have everything sorted correctly, because that's
you go with the usual, the old days, like my days, the old days, that's what I call them. You got to have 3 sources to confirm the story. You still
3
go
sources.
with that? Mm-hmm. Really? Where'd you learn that?
It's just kind of a basic thing that we learn in journalism.
From who?
I don't think I learned it from anyone specifically.
I know, like we're taught that in our journalism classes, you know.
You mean at Fresno State?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, interesting. So you were taught, and I see there's, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages to the Collegian right here. Sports is on the back, as you can see. So you learn that early on then. 3 sources, and you don't go with it. If you have 2, you're working on the 3rd, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes you don't always have 3 sources for every story, but, you know, sometimes you're just doing a profile, or, you know, sometimes you're doing stories that don't necessarily need 3 sources, but that's kind of like the general rule. You know, that's we'd always like to have 3 sources.
Yeah, especially for hard news.
All right.
Yes,
do we want to show Brianna at her desk? Do you want to see her working at her desk? I do.
No?
I actually do. I'm not sure if our viewers do, but there she is right there picking up the phone. And looks like you're having a good time at work there. You know, I'm interested. I see you guys working with Apple computers, and I don't see just one. I see like many in the newsroom, which I said must have cost you a pretty penny down there at Fashion Fair when you went into the Apple store. Holy moly!
Yeah.
Those things are what, about $5,000 a pop?
I don't know, but it's sure nice having them. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. So, Brianna, what are you doing here at your computer?
I think right now I'm just copy editing a story. So we, you know, people send in their stories to us over email. We print it out. I like to edit everything on paper with a red pen. And
that's okay.
Yeah,
no,
so
that's good.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing here.
Yeah, I see Jesse. Is that you, Jesse?
That's me.
Yeah, you got your caffeine ready to go there to your left.
Always ready to go.
Caffeine bottle.
We got a new coffee pot in there. Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
It's lifesaver.
That's part of the journey. You know, and in the old days, of course, it wasn't only caffeine, it was cigarettes. No smoking in the newsroom these days. But So how do you decide, Brianna, what stories to go after, what stories to run? Is it mainly stories that occur on campus, or are you looking outside the campus?
We primarily print stuff that happens on campus, but every now and then we do print a story that is, in the greater Fresno community that we think college students would be interested in. So,
such as?
The Fulton Mall, we have covered that pretty heavily because,
Cover city politics, do you?
Not a little bit here and there, but primarily just the Fulton Mall. That's something.
How about Measure G? Did you do Measure G?
No, we did not.
Oh,
we didn't.
Interesting.
College students don't care about trash, but they do care about shopping.
Obviously.
Right.
They just throw everything on the floor.
Right.
What do we care about trash? Who's gonna pick it up? We don't care.
Yeah. Well, I mean, college students don't really, they don't really pay for that stuff.
Yeah, I know. I'm teasing you. I'm just having a good time. But so you cover mainly stuff on campus.
Mainly stuff, yes.
But you do venture out sometimes, like with the Fulton. Why the Fulton Mall? Why the interest there?
I mean, students like to shop. We like to spend money, and with the Fulton Mall, everything that's going on, hopefully that's what's going to be happening there.
So who's the boss there? Who's the boss? Is it him or is it you?
Actually, it would technically be our editor-in-chief, Ricardo Cano.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So, but
so he decides
yes.
what stories you go after, right?
It's kind of a collaborative decision.
Yeah, it's pretty collaborative.
So you have, 5 or 6 editors?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You're 2 of them. Mm-hmm. Ricardo's the man in charge, though. He's the big chief, the big enchilada.
Yeah, see.
Okay. And so, what kind of stories do you like to cover?
Politics? I like to cover politics a lot. It's a guilty pleasure of mine, and I'm a political science major and a journalism major, so it kind of goes
what kind of politics could there be going on campus? Like what?
On campus, a lot goes on with our associated student government. There's elections coming up right now, actually, so I'm going to be moderating a debate tomorrow, asking the 3 candidates that are running just.
What are they running for? President?
ASI president, yes.
Okay, all right. So what kind of questions what are you going to drill them with there, Jesse?
Well, they can't know that. So.
Yeah.
But,
they're not going to see this show, more than likely. So what are you going to do? What kind of questions do you have? Well, what's your biggest question?
There's a lot of issues going around with club funding right now. ASI recently decided not to give funding to a cultural club on campus.
Multiple cultural clubs, actually.
Wow. So that's something you can kind of needle them with a little bit.
So it's a pretty divisive issue. One of the candidates running is with the cultural clubs itself, and one of them's the current president of ASI running for re-election, so it kind of pits them on opposite sides. So it's a pretty big question to be asked. I mean, a lot of students have already said that that's what's going to decide their vote, is where this candidates stand on that question.
This is a big deal on campus.
Yeah, it's very big.
Huge deal. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a huge deal when I was going to high school. Who was going to be the class president?
No.
And you get to college, it's even bigger.
No.
And then, of course, as you know, as you experienced, it gets even bigger after that when you're talking about, say, the president of the United States.
No.
Anyway, so I'm looking at the paper here. Is this a conservative or a liberal paper?
We're an objective newspaper.
Yes, we're bipartisan here.
You think I just fell off the truck yesterday? Come on, which way does this paper lean? Left or right? A little bit.
Well, I don't know if
it's because you on the spot.
I don't know if it's because we have to take journalism ethics and we're currently in that class, but we always go for objective truth with our newspaper.
We really do. We really try to get both sides. Like,
I'm gonna have to start reading this, and I'll decide for myself.
That front page story right there. We talked about
what story is that?
ASI meeting raises legal questions.
Aren't you? Yeah. Okay.
So
which way? I mean. When you read a story, I don't care if it's a New York Times, I don't care if it's it's the same. And you look at this show, it's the same. You can get a sense, a drift for which way the wind is blowing in the article. It's left or right. Which do you think it is?
And that's the art to journalism, to disguise that, not to deceive anybody, but to try to get as close to objective truth as you can. It's one of those things where you can never quite reach it. I mean, there's very few journalists that have ever been completely objective their entire careers. And
it's hard.
It's very hard.
I've done it, and I know it's hard.
That's the exact art to journalism, is trying to get as close to it as you can so that there's no tilt and people are given the facts.
I think asking us, like, are you, is it a liberal or conservative paper? We can't answer that because we do try as hard as we can to be objective, but maybe our readers...
I didn't ask your personal politics.
Right.
I just asked, is this paper, because everybody calls the New York Times, the LA Times, they're leaning left, they're liberal, they have liberal bias, where the Wall Street Journal is more to the right.
Yeah.
So where does this paper stand in relation to those?
Well, since it's a college newspaper, probably just not as much circulation is where it stands. But
since it is a college newspaper, I'll bet people are guessing it's got to be a little bit left.
Yeah, I suppose that's how people usually categorize the young. However, Fresno State is a pretty diverse political campus. There's a lot of young conservatives there. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, more videotape to look at, more conversation here on Connect With Me on MeTV Fresno, and we're going to be back in just a moment.
When you're looking for KitchenAid innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, will help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified KitchenAid appliances save you energy and money, and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
Hey, we're back here talking to our two guests, Franz and Brianna Vaccari from the Collegian, the newspaper. What about student fees? You guys broke that story in your paper, right? Not the Fresno Bee. It was the Collegian that broke the paper, broke the news in this paper.
Yeah, about a month ago, just walking into a random meeting that no one expected the Collegian to be at, or any students for that matter, they just ended up talking about proposed student fee increases. And they're still in the development stage, but what they were saying is a $50 to $100 student fee increase for student success programs, which would be something like more money to tutoring and things like that. And on top of that, they wanted an even higher fee for athletic fee increases.
How do you feel about that? Can you say, being a journalist?
Well, I can say that college students are never happy about paying more money. It's definitely,
puts a strain.
Yeah, stereotypical college student right here. We're all poor. We're already giving all of our money to the university.
That's what I'm thinking. You're going to be in debt, the rest of your life? Probably, thanks to Fresno State. But, so how do you feel about it?
Well, we have a lot of students who are on financial aid at Fresno State. That's one of the things that Fresno State actually takes pride in, is that we have diversity and we have opportunity for low-income students. Exactly. When this fee goes up, there's no guarantee that financial aid will go up, so it's going to be taking money for other.
Can we get a comment from Castro on this, the president?
Actually, we had a comment after we ran the initial story.
What did he say?
Because initially the fee increase was supposed to go into effect by fall 2015. He wrote a letter to the editor a couple weeks after the story was published, saying that they were going to hold off till 2016 and to get all the different groups on campuses, input and everything. So it's going to be a 1.5 year long process until we eventually see whether or not we will have a student fee increase.
Well, anyway, another piece of tape to roll here. Go ahead and roll it. We'll take a look at Jesse behind the desk here and find out what he's doing and working. And so let me ask you first, since we're looking at your video here at your desk, working on your Apple computer, by the way, state of the art, no question about it. So why newspaper writing? Why journalism?
It's just something that I was in love with writing from a very young age, and I continued doing that. Then a weird opportunity arose where I was offered to do some freelance work for a magazine, and it just took off from there, and I started loving it.
You get credits for working at the paper, right? You don't get paid, right?
Oh, no, we do get paid.
You do get paid? How much?
Which is very nice. I believe it's $10 an hour now. We just got a raise, actually, 20 hours a week.
Wow, that's not bad.
It's nice because there's no way to effectively do our jobs on the newspaper and be able to pick up a second outside job, which I was doing before I was on the newspaper and still trying to do that.
I think it's great. But let me ask you, Brianna, as an editor, as a reporter, don't you feel that as a reporter you just have to have by nature you have to be nosy?
Oh, definitely.
Are you nosy?
I'm totally nosy. You
want to know everything.
I want to know everything. I'm a know-it-all. I like to know everything about everything. I like to gossip, so I like to get the inside scoop. That's my nature. That's how I am. So
I need to hook up with my daughter here.
Yeah.
Because she's anyway, but she's only 10. So but you can train her.
Yeah, I can train her for sure.
Yeah, you can train
her.
Start
at a young age.
Yep.
Start at a young age. Yeah. What time did you start at 10?
Oh yeah. Yeah. My mom and my granny and my aunts were all talking. I was like, hey, what are you guys talking about? How to get in there?
Our audience right now, they might think that we're talking nonsense, but it really isn't. You really do have to have that sense of just being nosy and wanting to know everything. Don't you, Jesse?
You really do.
To be good.
You really do. And I think our generation's more than growing up with that. I mean, Facebook, every social media outlet.
Are you guys on Twitter?
Yes.
I know you're on Facebook, Twitter.
Yeah. Follow the Collegian on Facebook,
At the
Twitter.
Collegian.
Yeah.
Really? Really? So you're both on Twitter?
Yeah.
So is the Collegian. We even
I try to be on Twitter. I'm still trying to get used to Twitter.
I'm on Twitter all the time.
Yeah.
So.
Another piece of videotape before we go here. Only got a couple of minutes left, so let's roll that. We mentioned at the top of the program that this Collegian, this newspaper, there it is, California State University at Fresno, located at the Speech and Arts Building right there. And so how long have you guys been there? How many years? A year or two? Or what?
Well, I started working as an editor last semester, and the semester before that I was a contributing writer, so about a year and a half.
Does the administration get involved if you guys write something that does not favor the university?
By law, they cannot.
Free speech, right?
Student journalists are shielded the exact same way that journalists in the real world are sheltered.
So Castro can't come in, Dr. Joseph Castro, the president, can't come in and come unglued because you wrote a story that favors him in a negative light.
Well, he's more than welcome to come unglued, but it's not like we have to take it down, recant it, anything like that. We can encourage him to write
Russia,
a letter.
right?
Exactly.
Putin isn't coming in to dictate.
This isn't Crimea. But he's more than welcome to write a letter to the editor and things like that.
Has he? Has he written a letter?
Yeah, actually, what we were talking about earlier with the fee increase, he wrote a letter to the students that he wanted us to publish.
And it's your choice as to whether or not you want to print it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Most of the time when people write letters that talk about our stories, we're more than happy to publish our criticisms.
Yes.
Yeah. So freedom of speech, there's no question about it. And we were looking inside the newsroom there. Do you have, and I want to ask you this because, you go to the Fresno Bee and they have security all over the place. You guys take extra precaution to make sure that place is secure because, after all, you are a media outlet. You may not be as big as the Bee, but you are a media outlet. Do you take security precautions?
Well, it's a little bit tricky because we do want people to come in and buy advertisements. So our front door is always open, but we do kind of make an extra effort to make sure the back door is closed. And, we just have to be...
You never know.
Yeah, we just have to be really careful. And, there's only collegian staff are allowed inside the newsroom.
Yeah.
So we just have to be really careful about what we say and when we say it.
You've written for the Fresno Bee before, right?
Yes.
And what story did you write about?
I've written a couple. The most recent one was about the Fresno Teacher Association protesting at the Fresno Unified School Board meeting.
So you were a student writer for the Bee?
Yes.
Okay, and how did that work out?
That story was actually particularly controversial, and I had a Fresno Unified administrator kind of barking in my ear after I wrote the story. So
how long ago was that?
It was just this week. It was or last week, I guess, on Tuesday, or I think it was Wednesday.
Wednesday, and
so
what
it came out
what
on
happened?
Thursday. I went to the meeting and it was packed, a full house. I was late because I couldn't get in the door because there were so many protesters, and I kind of outlined, what happened.
And the teachers were protesting because?
There was a fee waiver, or not a fee waiver. There was a waiver, and it's just affecting teachers in all these ways. They were upset that they weren't included in the discussion, to pass the waiver.
We got 1 minute. What district official got in your face?
It was actually Ruthie Quinto.
Oh, Ruthie, what did she say?
She was upset there was a discrepancy in the count of people that the district officials counted and that I said were there. So, but she said there was 83. I said there was 500. I couldn't, they were only in the room.
Were you right?
Were you accurate? Yeah, I was accurate for sure.
And she was upset because she thought you weren't. Hey, it comes with the territory.
Right.
She'll get over it.
Right. Yeah.
She'll sleep it off, right, Jesse?
Yeah.
No problem. Hey, we're almost out of time. I'd like to know. Okay, Mark Arax. You work with Mark Arax? You can tell Mark Arax. He won't come on this show, by the way. I hope he's watching right now. We got 2 of your former students here. Why can't you come on the show? Anyway, Jesse, Brianna, good to see you.
Nice to meet
Would
you.
you guys come back?
Of course.
You guys
sure,
should be
definitely.
regulars
Yeah.
here,
Of
just like
course.
Bradley Hart, Dennis Hart. Give us
Yeah.
the news at Fresno State. Tell us what's going on campus.
Sounds
Yeah.
great.
We love Fresno State, and we love you guys. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. Continued success. Jesse Franz and Brianna Vaccari here on Connect with Me. Glad to have them along here for the ride. That's going to do it for us here on MeTV Fresno. Back again with another show, another edition of our show tomorrow.
This black and white patrol car has an overhead valve V8 engine. It develops 325 horsepower at 4,800 RPMs. It accelerates from 0 to 60 in 7 seconds. It has a top speed of 120 miles an hour. The automobile has 2 shotgun racks, one attached to the bottom portion of the front seat, one in the vehicle trunk.
You want me to drive?
Now on MeTV Fresno, Xfinity 187.